everyone. Welcome to the Via Stoica Podcast. This is another episode in the Stoic quote series. And this time we're going to take it a little bit further back in history. Before we had Marcus Aurelius, we had Seneca, we had Epictetus. But this time we're going to go right to the founder of Stoicism for today's quotes. And we're talking about Zeno of Citium, who has, as I said, he was the one who created it and walked up and down the Stoa Poikile in Athens around 300 BCE, and that's where the name Stoicism came from. We have a source by an historian called Diogenes Laertius, which is I can't see the book here, but it's a great read. And he has he himself was somewhere around 300 CE, so this is about 600 years different, right? There's a lot of time difference between Zeno when he lived and this guy actually wrote the book. He has a lot of books about all the ancient philosophers. He talks about the Stoics, but also the Cynics. He ends his series with Epicurean, with Epicurus. But he has it's a great read. But the quote from Zeno, it's a famous one. It's a really impactful one as well, and I want to go straight into it here. So we're talking about this one. The reason why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth is that we may listen the more and talk the less. Now, great from someone coming from a podcast here, trying to educate, trying to share, trying to give you the knowledge of the Stoics. But it is really important, right? Why we have to listen more than we speak. And we often fall into that trap of always wanting to add something, of always wanting to speak, say our opinion, share what we have to say. The Stoics and really the ancient philosophers, they really wanted us to listen, to observe, to look at what's going around, and really to have our senses do the work, right? Our touch, our sight, our hearing, our taste, all of these things, to really see what's happening around us before we give our opinions, before we make an opinion, right? That's that entire flow of impressions. Like when an event happens, we have an impression of something, we put our value judgment on it from our filters, from our emotions, from our wants, our beliefs, our desires. And they ask us to pause, right? Before we do that, before we express that, before we act on that, we really want to observe what's going on. And this is what Zeno is telling us here as well, that he wants us to become more of an observant instead of speaking, instead of always wanting to chime in. And that's something that, nowadays happens more and more with social media, with we see that everybody has an opinion, so we too have to share in and give our opinion about what's happening. And that's what we've got to try to avoid, to pause with. And that's what Zeno is trying to remind us of here when he says that we only have 1 mouth and 2 ears. And you can ask yourself that question, right, during the week or during the day: how well do I listen? And if we talk about making more connections, about becoming one world, right? The Stoics were very big in the cosmopolitanism, that we are one people. They even go bigger. We are one with nature, with everything. Instead of us projecting ourselves on it, we want to make that connection. How do we do that? By giving people our attention, by listening to them, by really hearing what they have to say. It is a lost art, right? To really listen carefully to what someone has to say without getting ready to answer, without getting ready for us to take the stage. No, let someone else have it for a second. Give them your ear, give them your mind. And even Marcus Aurelius says that in one point in his meditation. He says, try to get into the mind of the other people. That's what we've got to do. That's the way we can make a really strong connection. That's what we do, for example, in the Stoic coaching. For 1 hour, we are there to listen, to truly listen and to challenge your beliefs. Not for us to say what we think or what we believe. No, to listen to what you have to say. And that's why this is such a powerful quote, something that we can all live and abide by a little bit more, is to truly listen. Ask yourself this question: when was the last time that I really listened to someone else without me getting ready to share, to voice my opinion? No, really listen to what they have to say, and not just the words, but how they say it. What emotions are they trying to convey? Are they struggling with something, right? And the Stoics, they really try to teach us that sense of compassion, with a warning, with a caveat, to make sure that we don't assume the emotions, the problems that people have, but we are there for them to as a beacon of support, of help whenever they need it, or just to vent. That's something that a lot of people just need, to be heard. And they lack nowadays because everybody is so easily distracted, looking at their phones, looking at their next bright, shiny object. Well, if we set everything aside and give our full attention, our time to someone, that's so valuable. And that's how we can really learn more about what people want and where they are in their lives. That's something that we've got to appreciate a little bit more. That's why this quote, taken from the historian Diogenes Laertes, is so powerful, right? And he was saying this to a young person around, right? Who was talking nonsense. And he said, the reason why we have two ears and only one mouth is that we may listen to more and talk to less. So if you just watch this video and you think like, how can I do this, right? What can I do with this? It sounds really profound, and all these quotes are great, but at the end of the day, they're just words. And a lot of the people, even with these quotes, they don't really listen to it. But try to practice this. So if you're listening this, in the beginning of the day or tomorrow, think about how you can listen more to people with the interactions that you have. Maybe at work with a colleague. Instead of brushing over, instead of having this fleeting little chit chat, try to sit, try to give them your full attention for a minute, for two, for three. Sit there with them. Don't be distracted. Don't think about what you want to do next or what you want to say or where you have to go. No, forget about all of that. Just be in that moment, present with that person that is sitting across the table from you or wherever, and invite people who you feel that they might want to share, that they might want to talk, or the people that you haven't spoken to in for a while, but you appreciate their connection. Maybe give them a phone call if they're not around. Say, hey, are you free for a few minutes? And it doesn't have to be long. Just give them a few minutes of your time, of your attention, and to truly listen. And then also to reflect on it. What are they saying? Why are they saying this? And even after the conversation is over, think about what they said, just to remind yourself. Why? Because that really makes you be part of their life and makes them be part of your life. It's an interest that you share to people. And if we all do that a little bit more, we can learn so much more. We can create more understanding. We can create that sense of belonging, that true society where we all are one people and we're all trying to make the best out of it. So again, try it with the people around you, even if you don't know them very well, even if they're your loved ones. Just sit with them and listen. And just to wrap this up, because I don't want to speak too much, but I do want to implore, just practice this with the people around you. You will notice the change in attitude towards you as well. And I want to end it with the quote again. Let Zeno's word speak to you. The reason why we have two ears and only one mouth is that we may listen to more and talk to less.